What a day. Lots going on. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Facepalm America, thanks so much for listening. I'm Beowulf Rockland, and thank you for being here today. FacepalmAmerica.com. You know all about that. That's a place where you can go if that's what you want to do. Here on the West Coast, the sun is shining, and things are beautiful. And boy, Fani Willis. Yeah. Let us broach that subject with Susanne Posel, who is the host of This Week Again. I'm sure it is one of the topics that she will bring up on her show. Susanne, how's it going?
Oh my goodness. It is going.
It is.
It feels like it's going off a cliff, but I'm really hopeful. I'm thinking there's a guardrail. I don't know.
I'm thinking so. I mean, Fani Willis. I mean, yay.
Yeah.
Finally.
I wanted to start there too.
Yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I am hopeful. I mean, it hasn't happened yet. I am hopeful, really, that ultimately this will allow us, whatever she decides to do, whether she's going to go off the case. I hope that's not the case. Or whether, Wade goes off the case, that we can finally get down to talking about what Donald Trump actually did, as opposed to, like, her being the focus of the circus, which is really what Donald Trump wants. And we'd much rather be attacking a black woman than talking about the white supremacist crimes that he engaged in. So, but
yes.
But we got to talk about her a little longer. I understand that. I understand. What do you think she's going to do? I got to think that she, in order to preserve what she's built up so far and not restart the clock, that she's going to stay on herself. I would hope.
You know, the first time this story hit the news, I heard my the person who ran the program where I got my paralegal degree. She was a practicing attorney. I hope she still is and alive and well. I don't know. But one of the first things that she said when she introduced everybody, the new class, to the program, is that we don't ever want to give the impression or the perception of an impropriety.
Right.
Because although juries and judges are stuck within the confines of the law and in terms of what they can pass down as judgment, appearances matter. That's why you dress up. That's why you wash your hair the night before, and
or at least before COVID, I did.
Yeah, as a woman, you look, you dress to the nines. Right. As a man, you want to make sure to at least manscape that morning, and don't look like a bum. And the way in which you conduct yourself in court is very important. Yes, the judge has those restrictions I just mentioned, but his perception or her perception of you, the jury's perception of you. In some laws, in some cases, that may be a factor that they can consider. So absolutely, you want to put your best foot forward. So in response to Fani Willis, girl, you knew this didn't look good.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it was on the up and up. It probably was. It doesn't matter what your intentions were. You knew that people were going to have a problem with it, and it would be a point of contention for the other side. So, sweetie, was there not anyone else you could have put in that role? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, there is the appearance of an impropriety here, but I mean, for me, what it comes down to, and I think I mentioned this before, this is something that I heard from Glenn Kirshner from MSNBC, is that the bottom line is that it does not prejudice Trump's case whatsoever.
Correct.
It does. I mean, yeah, there could be the appearance of impropriety, but it does not have an impact on, any judgment or hearing or any standard around how a ruling on him would actually, play out in any way. And that's
but it does have it does add a flavor to the way in which it is perceived by the people. and we are in an election year. And one of the reasons why these trials, even Jack Smith's trials, are such a big deal is because we want a judge to decide whether or not he is guilty of the things he's been accused of.
Right.
And in an election year, we don't want to find out, at least I don't. And no, I'm not voting for him. But if I were, I would not want to find out after I voted for him that, yeah, he did it. Because there's 4 years that I just effed up, and I would feel really bad about that.
Yeah, and at the same time, you do want to make sure that this actually starts so that it can be processed in time for that. And that plays into this too, because if she has to step down and like they have to go through everything over again.
Delay.
Exactly. That's a successful delay. So my thought is, it's better that this happen, even if there's some like sense of impropriety, some slight, ultimately legal vulnerability that they could have because of that. It's better to do something as opposed to do nothing before the election. And from everything that I'm able to see, and from all the experts, among whom I will now include you, I didn't realize that you were a paralegal. And that's fantastic. We will have to consult your expertise on that level much more. But from what I understand, it really doesn't apply to what the basic situation is. And this is a massive like opportunity for Trump and his followers just to be racist and say, "Oh, look at the black woman; she did something bad," and that for me is the problem. So, bottom line for me, Please, Fani, let's get something going here. Let's engage this, and let's put the focus back on him. And all is forgiven as far as I'm concerned. I totally hear what you're saying, and she should not have done what she did. But now let us move forward and make it about this guy as opposed to you. And I realize it's not at all her fault. Well, okay, it is her fault that she did that thing, but it's not her fault that like the massive focus of it is on her. And again, we can see as what you were describing, the complete imbalance in like standards that a black woman has to hold up. She has to be absolutely perfect, and Donald Trump can come in here with like 91 indictments against him, and yet the focus is on her and the one mistake that she might have made that's not pertinent to the legal case. Crazy.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what he wants. You mentioned it. That's exactly what he wants. Yeah. He doesn't want people to focus on what he's done. He doesn't want the details of the case, the evidence being brought forth, the reporters, the stories every single night, the chatter all over social media, the memes that are the beautiful memes that will be made.
So many memes.
He doesn't want that.
No, he doesn't want that. And because he knows that when they actually deal with the substance of the case, that even those who he has appointed, including Aileen Cannon, has, rejected, again in the last 24 hours, his spurious attack on the Espionage Act, that it somehow doesn't apply to him. He realized that anybody actually looking at the law, including people that he brought to power, are not going to destroy their careers by being a Trump bootlicker. They are actually going to look at what is written and use precedent and do other legal things like that in order to determine it. And he wants to be as far away from that as possible and have as much time to delay so that he can just use the court of public opinion to his advantage with as much smoke, mirrors, and confusion as he possibly can. I mean, what Judge Cannon here has done speaks volumes to me, because it shows you that the closer that he gets to any actual serious legal ruling, the more in danger he is.
Yes. And don't pay attention to what people say. Pay attention to what they do.
Yeah.
He is absolutely terrified because the merits of the case would warrant a conviction, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And it's just my opinion. And then he would go to prison. So and that terrifies him. And just rightfully so. I mean, I've never done what he's done. I don't have 91 federal
You've never had indictments against him.
I've never done what he's done, but I can definitely sympathize with, I don't want to go to jail. I've never been to jail. I wouldn't survive 2 hours. Mm-hmm. That terrifies me. So I understand. The problem is what his lawyers keep arguing is that he's not responsible for the job that he was elected to do. And that just doesn't fly. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. Let the voter beware. Basically.
Why? And I know that people are asking this, and I'm asking it too. If he's not responsible for his actions when he's in office as officially president, all the way up to the date he leaves office, because technically he is still president until the other one is inaugurated. Why then did Nixon resign after the leader of the Republican Party went to him the night before and said, dude, there's nothing we can do. You're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Why did he resign? And why did Ford pardon him? Because if a president is not responsible for the things that he did while he was president, and if he did crimes, he then has to be responsible for the outcomes of those crimes, and even the committing of the crimes, and even the plotting of the crimes, which is what we see in Georgia.
Go ahead.
Why? And is there a law that changed between, Nixon and then that absolves? I don't know. Yeah. But as far as I know, that happened to make sure that Nixon didn't serve any prison time for what he did. His vice president did, Spiro Agnew.
Yep.
Okay. Because guess what? Apparently, yes, VPs, but Nixon was pardoned so that he wouldn't. That tells me everything I need to know. Eileen Cannon, I'm really glad that she finally has a line, because I was getting nervous. Mm-hmm. She just lets him do whatever he wants and keeps helping the delays. Yeah. This was a bridge too far for her. Okay, I'll take it. I wish that the bridge had been maybe like 75,000 miles, ago, but we'll take what we can get.
It is important that you mention and you bring up the comparison to Nixon, because to me, the reason why, those senators went to him after everything that had happened with Watergate and said, the vote is going to go against you in the Senate. And the reason that he resigned is not so much to me because the law is different, but because the consciences and the moral fiber of those representing the law were intact, even to an extent within Richard Nixon. For all the law breaking that he engaged in at that time, he still knew that what he was doing was wrong, and he knew that he was going to face the consequences, and so he resigned as a result. And the senators who went to his office the day before he resigned, and it's I've talked to people on this show who knew Richard Nixon, who are familiar with that moment and have had that moment related to them by people who were in the room. I mean, they realized that history was watching them, and they cared about the fact that history was watching them, and that has never burdened Donald Trump. He has never cared about what is right. He has never cared how he is viewed by history, except in terms of very broad popularity. He doesn't care. He doesn't have shame. He doesn't have guilt. He's a sociopath, and as a consequence, he doesn't have the capacity. You're right. The law is the same, but I fear